In this teacher modeling video, I'm going to be showing you how I would read this paragraph here in the middle from a article from a historian talking about kind of like what is the purpose or point of history. And one of these sections I'm going to read to you here. Of course, also my main recommendation for all your readings is go to the Google Doc. It's this first paragraph here, got some vocabulary help. You will read the other two on your own, but this first one is for this video. So the heading here is that history contributes to moral understanding. And again, what morals means is kind of like this study of like, well, what is right and wrong, good or bad? This is kind of like morals, what that means. So history contributes to a moral understanding. So starting to read this paragraph here. History also provides a terrain for moral contemplation or thinking. Studying the stories of individuals and situations in the past allows a student of history to test his or her own moral sense, to hone, which means like sharpen, it against some of the real complexities individuals have faced in difficult settings. So this kind of shows that like as we're growing and becoming our own people in the world, we kind of have to figure out for ourselves, like what do you personally think is right or wrong, good or bad? And that looking at the lessons and events that happened in the past can kind of help us to refine or sharpen that sense of like, well, what do I think is a good decision in the world? What is a bad decision? And why is it a good or a bad decision? And that looking at the past can help us to kind of like create this sense of why do we think something is good or bad or right or wrong? Starting in the second sentence here, people who have weathered adversity, which means challenges, or come against things that are difficult, not just in some work of fiction, but in real historical circumstances, can provide inspiration. So again, this kind of shows that like, yeah, people have gone through a lot of really, really rough stuff in history. And I know people have like movies and TV show characters they think are like inspiring or heroic, but history can kind of show how like in the real actual world that we live in, people have sometimes done really inspiring or heroic things that might even be crazier or cooler than anything that's ever been made up in a story or movie. And that this can help us kind of be inspired and show, whoa, people stood up for cool or challenging things and won. So starting on this quote here, history teaching by example is one phrase that describes this use of the study of the past. A study not only of certifiable, which means proven heroes, the great men and women of history who have successfully worked through moral dilemmas or problems, but also of some more ordinary people who provide lessons in courage, diligence, which is kind of like grit, keep on trying, or constructive protests. So that we can kind of, this again, wrapping it all up and summarizing this here, shows that one of the points of history can be that, yeah, the world is a rough and challenging place, but by seeing how people in the past have dealt with challenges, how either what they did was a good thing or a bad thing, this can again help us kind of like refine or hone our own sense of like, well, what's a good action or a bad action in the world? Or if we're feeling hopeless and that things are bad, we can see how people in the past overcame these challenges too, and use that as a sense to kind of inspire us to feel like and know that people have come across challenges in history and that we're not the only ones who have come across hard times, and that we can see how people in the past have worked to overcome challenges. And this can inspire us and kind of see what is good things to do in the world. So this is how I would summarize this. You're going to be doing this with the quotes that you are going to be reading. Again, there's only 2 short readings, one here, the other one there. The rest are videos. There's only 1 video. So hopefully this is a little bit easier, but make sure you're on this Google Doc for some vocabulary help. And again, do your best. Really kind of take your time to think about these things because it's definitely a little bit more like complex subject areas. So do your best and read these quotes very carefully.